Tap it.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Join us for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I guess point of order this morning, we need to elect a temporary chairman since our chairman is not here this morning. So I would like to appoint Commissioner Stevens as temporary chairman this morning. Second.
Yep.
Begin voting. I think, Vanessa, do you start this week with voting?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Okay, you trusted me with this gavel. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Here we
We're
go.
in for it today.
So we will take, whose turn is it? So Vanessa, you get to pray.
Dear God, I thank you for the freedoms that we have in America. And I pray that you would just help us to use those wisely and respect others. And I thank you for all the things you do for us each day. Amen.
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 All right. Next, we will have any public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to offer public comment?
I would do roll call.
Oh, yeah, I better do roll call. Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Mr. Culberson?
Here.
Stephen here?
Here.
And Commissioner Dove is here. Commissioner Smith is absent. And now, if any public comment. We would love to hear your public comment. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to administrative business.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Pardon me. This wasn't planned, I'm sure everyone knows, but in light of past events of Charlie Kirk, which I respected deeply, there were individuals that had worked on my campaign that actually worked for the organization. And the quality of individuals that work with me tells me even more than individuals who don't get a chance to have a comment or conversation with the past Charlie Kirk. This is something that we should be aware of. Is that our rights are being taken from us slowly, gradually, whereas individuals believe that violence is a way to speak out, and violence is never a way to speak out, whether it is for Christians or against Christians. Christians do not have the right to do what was done, or do non-Christians have that right? So it is incumbent upon us as individuals, and I'm going to say this, individuals may not agree with it, however, when you start taking the fatherhood out of families, start taking these things for granted, then this is just one of the things that happens. Fatherhood is not a king, it's a leader. That's the biggest difference that I see. And every fatherhood needs the companionship of a wise individual that walks beside him, not behind him, and make sure that he keeps himself in the eyes of God for the moral stability of the family. And there were some things that came out about the individual that committed this heinous crime that I won't address because I don't think it needs to be addressed. We all know what happened, and we all we try to understand, but how is that understanding? And something as heinous as this happens in whether you're Democrat or Republican, unaffiliated, doesn't matter, in our United States of America. This is not what we're supposed to be about, and to congratulate his wife on forgiveness, I think doesn't go far enough. Does not go far enough. Because I don't know if I would be able to do that. I was fiery mad when this happened, and I still had that anger inside of me. And we take that anger and we need to push it toward righteousness and being right toward our individuals. Whether we agree or not, that is not the way to settle our differences. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other comments? No? Okay, administrative business.
Commissioners, just to follow up, last week you had brought up the Veterans Day Parade. I sent out the email. I hope you all got it. They now have an online contribution tab if you want to do it that way. If not, if you just want to give the money to Becky or I, we can make sure we get it to them. I think they also, I forwarded the invoice too, so you can see what it's costing per porta potty. So just wanted to pass that along. And also, if anybody's watching, there is a website for the Leavenworth County Veterans Day Parade. If you want to contribute, they have that up online. You can just do a donation button.
Were they wanting the county to purchase one?
So in the past, the way it's worked, the county commissioners have just reached into their billfolds or purses and put money forward for that. The county does not officially donate to the parade. It's something that the commissioners have done individually over the past, I want to say, probably 5 years. And they're just asking again. I think the city of Lansing maybe does something. They're just asking again if you'd please contribute. And they don't. They're very humble people. They do not demand it. They just ask for it. So if it's something you feel that you want to contribute to, you can either do that online or you can get that to us, and we'll pass it on to them.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a request for actual funding or if that was a request for donations.
It's an annual request.
And I know
they send
we've donated that every year.
Very generously. The commissioners usually. I know that the donation always covers more than covers one of the porta potties that they use for the parade. I think each year they've added a few porta potties to try to make it more convenient because the parade continues to grow.
Okay, so we'll leave that.
Sure, that'd be fun. What is the cost of one porta potty?
They have, so there's a handicap one and the normal ones. I think the I shouldn't say normal, but the non-handicap ones. The non-handicap ones, I believe, are like $85 a piece, and I think the handicap ones are a little more expensive, like $120 or something like that. So, it's again, there's no set amount. It's just whatever you feel like you want to contribute.
What day is the parade on this year?
It's November
11th.
I mean, what day of the week is that?
That's a Monday.
Monday. It's on Monday.
Monday, and we usually have a ribbon in Jeff's car. You're going to have your car?
Yeah, so you guys...
It's a Tuesday.
A Tuesday?
That may not be the day of the parade, though. Do you know? It is? Okay.
It is?
Okay, the 11th.
Yeah, and we'll figure out how we're going
All
to
right.
ride.
We can decide, but we could go in one.
Yeah, I have an old car or truck in the parade, so you guys can ride it with me if you want.
Get to wear my
Some
jeans
people have
and
to sit up on
boots.
the top where you're more accessible.
I'll probably have all my grandkids in the bed. So
I think
I'm
the
already
parade is prone
accessible.
to fall out.
Give me a seat belt, a truck belt, something.
we're going to put Mike
Okay.
in with a big
All right.
strap or something this time.
I think Commissioner Mike Smith had made the comment that you don't want to sit in the back or you might have to push the truck.
We had to strap him in so he wouldn't fall out.
So anyway, is there any other additional administrative business from the county administrator?
Just an item of note. Yesterday they had a K7 corridor update that several people from the county sat in on. And it was, I'll just say it was fairly disappointing. They were talking with Spring Hill about doing a new corridor study down there. And, that's a population of 10,000 people, and I know they have growth. But we're disappointed because we've had a corridor study in place in Leavenworth County for over 20 years. And there are a lot of great ideas, and this runs like the entire length of K7, including Johnson County and Leavenworth County. So of all the great ideas that they identified in Leavenworth County as far as ways to improve K7, in that 20 years, the R-Cut is the only project we can think, and it's actually in Wyandotte County, but they count that towards us because we border it. But in Leavenworth County, we couldn't find any of the projects that they actually carried through with, and now they're talking about implementing another one. In the same meeting, they were talking about the K-10 corridor as well, where they're getting ready to propose spending $1.2 billion on that corridor.
You say billion?
$1.2 billion on the K-10 corridor. And this K-7 stuff, that's another several $100 million on K-7. I'm pretty sure all that's in Johnson County. So it was a little frustrating to sit through and listen. We expressed some of our concerns respectfully. The meeting wasn't about us, but we did. But I intend to follow up with one of our local legislators, at least, to just express our concerns and see if they can help us put that message out. That in the 20 years that we've had a plan, they've done nothing with it, and yet they're looking at implementing a new plan on the south end of K-7.
And this is a trend that I've seen working here for 40 years. I've seen this with KDOT and Leavenworth County. And most recently, I questioned their traffic count, their official traffic count on 7 Highway. They say it's about 20,000 cars a day. And when I questioned that, I was told, I said, we have counters. Let me put a county counter up. And I was told it was illegal for us to put a county counter up on 7 State Highway. So I know the numbers are not right. And a lot of these projects, it seems, is just like this. We get turned away because the goalpost gets moved, or there's always a reason why Leavenworth County gets left out. So that's one item that I wanted to bring up to the other commissioners is the count that they're using is not correct. And that's how they award a lot of projects and grants and money is based on traffic counts. So if traffic count isn't accurate, it should be more like 60,000 cars a day. I know this because I had an appraisal done on a lot on 7 Highway years ago. So there's a lot of things like that going on that I don't understand.
We're very, very appreciative. We do get money from KDOT. I don't want anybody to think they don't spend money in Leavenworth County. K5 is a good example right now. They're getting ready to do redo K5 alignments, and they're going to spend a lot of money there, and they give us grants for other projects. It was just frustrating that we're talking about a corridor, and they're talking about putting a new program in on the corridor when they haven't funded any of our corridor K7 improvements that we've asked for, and actually they've identified as needed. So
That's beautiful music.
We're not going to dance, so
anyways,
my wife would love to, but no.
It's just one of those things that, again, they have a plan. They need to follow their current plan rather than start a new plan that I don't know if they intend to fund it. But and Commissioner, you mentioned the traffic count. That traffic count, accurate and inaccurate, that's been the traffic count. We've had over 20,000 vehicles a day for 15 years or longer. And they're talking about in the next 10 years, they think that the corridor they're looking at may reach 20,000. Like, we've been there.
Yep.
It's just, it cuts us off when they don't follow their own plan. Their plan is to improve traffic through K7 to get to our population centers, and then they don't follow through with it. So kind of frustrating, but venting more than anything. They weren't making decisions there yesterday on any funding or anything, but just wanted to pass it on.
It sounds like we've all been venting one way or another and not getting any results. Is there any way that it can be that we can find out, is that against the law? Is that against statute for us to
It is.
do
I
that?
looked it up.
Yeah.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are not allowed to work in the right of way of a state highway. And I do intend to meet with our local senator just to, express some of my concerns, provide him with some numbers, and see if there's any help or assistance that he can provide.
Well, Counselor, is there any way around this to whereas we're not breaking any statute or a law that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, Commissioner. The state is, they zealously guard their right-of-way just like we do. We don't allow others to come and work in ours. I mean, I suppose we could ask them to conduct a new traffic count and see what kind of results we get on that.
Okay. And I'd like to take this just one not another step further, but yesterday I received a call from a concerned citizen that there's a pothole that is large enough to cause damage to a car and perhaps individuals. And I understand that we're not able, because it's their right of way, to do anything with that. When it could cause a problem or bodily injury or possibly death to an individual, what recourse do we have if they do not fill that pothole?
You're saying the pothole is in the state right of way?
It's like that far away from it.
It's in the state right of way?
Yeah.
But not in the county right of way. So So I've dealt with KDOT on issues exactly like that, and they do not allow the county to maintain any potholes or any part of the state right of way. So right where the county right of way cuts off, we have to stop our maintenance.
If you can provide me with a location, we can pass that on to the district engineer. They're usually really responsive about those things. So if you can give me the location, I can have our
I got a picture of it.
Reach out to them.
Yeah. I spoke to Bill Knoll yesterday about this, and that's when he informed me that the state that infringes upon their right of way. And I hated to give the individual the answer, and it was pretty embarrassing to give him that answer, because it could cause bodily harm if it's not done.
I'll make sure that Bill, and I'm sure he probably already has, but I'll follow up with Bill and make sure that he has passed that on to our district engineer. Typically, they're pretty responsive when we reach out to them about those things.
Okay.
And a lot of times when we document it and it's like the county makes the request, then it becomes a liability issue for them. So they will
Okay.
go ahead.
So that's our recourse. Okay, good. Thank you, Commissioner.
Any more administrative business, commissioners? Okay.
I've got more, but I'll wait until the end.
I want to just note that yesterday I took a coin, one of our county coins that we had designed through our contest 2 or 3 years ago, and I took it down to J.W. Evans in Tonganoxie, and they had food trucks, and J.W. turned 90 yesterday. And long-time real estate and insurance business and family-owned. He is one of the city fathers of Tonganoxie, and we just want to congratulate him on his 90th birthday. And that's an accomplishment to make it to 90. So anyway, he has a county coin now, so I'm sure that made his day. But they had food trucks, and a lot of people came and honored him yesterday. So it's just wanted to note that. Another thing, Mr. Knoll put out, and it was put out by the county social media, is that the County Road 30 project is going to begin early, and the reroute has been established. And I thought Mr. Knoll might be up here, but that's good news. County Road 30, folks that have been talking about this for 70 years, it's gonna happen. Also, I have a letter from Congressman Moran's office. It's actually an email from Congressman Moran to Bill Knoll saying that the additional $6 million for the Dempsey Road up to 92 is going to be in the next appropriation bill. And Senator Moran's office was able to get us $2 million for this first leg on County Road 30. That will get County Road 30 paved all the way up to 92 if we get those funds and add matching funds. So it's in the appropriation bill, but as you've been following what's going on in Washington, those appropriation bills are not moving very fast. So we're hopeful that that will go through and we will be able to continue that construction. And I guess there's a little bit of design part that we've got to get ahead on that. And is there any other additional?
County clerk report.
Come on up.
Good morning.
Morning.
This week at the clerk's office, we just continue to work on the city school election coming up. We've sent our ballots off to the printers. We've sent out our UVCAVA ballots. We should be getting those ballots back printed starting next week so that we will be ready for the October 15th early election. And other business, we will receive our state assessed by the end of the month, and we'll be able to set those levies and get the letters out to all the entities. But other than that, one other thing, that the swearing in of the treasurer will be October 10th by Judge Loudon over in courtroom 3. So if you want to put that on your calendars. But other than that, that's what we've got going on this week.
October 10th.
Are there questions for the county clerk?
Not for me.
I did receive a phone call this week about office hours. What are your office hours?
Our office hours are 8 to 4.
And I guess the concern was that they felt like the courthouse hours were listed as 8 to 5.
And we can get that changed on the website.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions for the county clerk?
Nope.
I have a couple for you. When the districts are split, like a township is split between school district A, school district B, or representative district 42 and 41,
Right.
how does your office handle that? You have different sets of ballots printed.
We do.
Explain how that's handled.
Like the schools, we have just in High Prairie alone, we have 4 schools. So each ballot will have that specific school on it. If it's 453, 469, whatever it is, each ballot for that person, or each ballot has that school put on it.
So when Jim
Same
Smith
with
comes
house.
in to vote, and I live in one of those parts, my specific ballot is going to have my
Yes.
school district.
Or your House district, or your Senate district. Each ballot is separated into that. I mean, it actually has that candidate on there.
Those are called the taxing districts. That's why there's 113 different taxing districts.
Yeah.
And they've
And we have a lot of different ballots.
and I know in the last when they did the redistricting, they split some of our house districts are now
Exactly.
splitting townships,
Right.
which
Right.
is
I mean, we even have, schools that are not even in Leavenworth County, but some of those students go to those schools. So we also have those on there. There's 207, 3 or 4, or something like that. I don't know. There's several different school districts on each.
I know Reno's cut up. They even have part of the Lawrence School District
Absolutely.
is in it. So, well, very good. Appreciate
Okay.
all you're doing. What do you expect the turnout's going to be?
Well, we're hoping for, we plan, even though we had a 19% last time, we still have to plan for 100%. But the turnout probably about the same, maybe 19, 20%.
So note to everybody that's watching, there is an election coming up
There is.
on November 4th, and it's for your municipal, city, and school districts.
Yes.
Are there any water?
There's a water board, yes.
Okay. So those are coming up, so be sure you prepare to vote on November the
Or
4th.
come in an early vote on October 15th.
Okay.
That's when we'll start our early voting.
And what hours will that be?
That will be 8 to 5.
8 to 5?
Monday through
And
Friday.
it'll be downstairs at the courthouse?
No, it will be at the clerk's office,
At-
unless it gets too big. If we get a lot of people, then we may move it, but we've been able to handle it usually from the clerk's office
So in the clerk's office after October 15th,
on October 14th.
beginning on October,
15th, we will
15th.
start, yes.
so October 15th forward till
The day before.
at noon?
At noon.
All right. All right.
All right.
Any other questions for the clerk? Thank you. And are you going to be joining us up here?
I will, yes.
All right. She's going to be joining us on the podium at the meetings. And
Good.
I guess she'll keep us under control.
Us?
You.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. Administrative business. Is there a motion?
Consent agenda.
The consent agenda.
Mr.
Right.
Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Voting? Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
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 All right. Formal board action. Consider a motion to accept a 5-year lease agreement with VLP Equipment Share for a skid steer with an annual lease payment in the amount of $8,873.25. Got to get that 25 cents in there.
Yep. Down to the penny. So our JCB skid steer that we currently have is at its end of life, and so Frank went out for bid, and we got two bids back, and this is the low bid, and it'll work for what we need it for.
All right. Are there questions?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept a 5-year lease agreement with VLP Equipment Share for a skid steer with an annual lease payment in the amount of $8,873.25.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Is there discussion? Seeing none, voting. Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
We usually require our folks to tell a joke before they leave, but we'll let you go this time. Consider a motion to approve Board Order 2025-12 granting a disaster relief abatement for tax ID 1-31803, 1-29683, and 1-29089.
Morning.
Morning.
There's 3 properties here that were destroyed by fire. 3-1803, the abatement amount this is assessed value of $51,592. It was destroyed on January 24th. We have insurance and pictures of that estimates. 29,683 for the amount of $8,785. We did not have insurance amount, although we did inspect the property and it was a complete loss. There was nothing left standing of the house. And then the 29-089 for $34,029 destroyed. July 5th of 2025, and that one was also. We have insurance estimates and pictures, and we inspected it also.
Yeah.
So we are recommended these for approval.
Okay. All those homes destroyed by fire, and the law allows us to exempt them from the remaining taxes. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Board Order 2025-12 granting disaster relief tax abatement for tax IDs 1-31803, 1-29683, and 1-29089.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
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 4-0. All right. Consider a motion to authorize the chairperson.
Thanks, Bob.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Bob. To sign the Council on Aging Second Amendment to the Older Americans Act Title III Programs Grant for the fiscal year 25.
Yes.
Come on down. You're here already.
Yes, good morning. As you know, we have Older Americans Act funding that we apply for every year. It's required as a part of that grant that we do a revision in June of that funding to speak specifically to how those funds were utilized throughout the year. We did that. The state approved that August 1st, and this requires a signature of those amounts of that grant.
Okay. Is there questions for the director?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize the chairperson to sign the Council on Aging Second Amendment to the Older Americans Act Title III Programs Grant for the fiscal year 25.
There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there discussion? Okay, no discussion. Voting. Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
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 All right.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell a joke?
I don't know a joke I can share in this arena. arena.
That's pretty good. Yesterday at the MARC meeting, they talked about the Council on Aging's in Missouri specifically, but I was thinking of how successful ours is in Leavenworth County compared to, a lot of counties don't have this same type of service level that we have here.
Yes.
And
we hosted a mahjong tournament on Monday and had several folks here from out of county who participated in that, Johnson County and around, and they were in awe of the building. They got a tour, just all of the things that are provided under one roof as our Council on Aging is pretty impressive.
yeah, I think it's a gold star for Leavenworth County that we have a Council on Aging, and appreciate all your work that you do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Jamie.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome.
I apologize. I have something's in my throat. So
You need a drink of water?
no, it's allergies. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Tell me about it.
It's fine.
Horrible.
Well, today I'm just here to request that y'all consider a motion to approve my FY25 year-end adult outcome report for my FY25 adult comp plan. This is standard, so every year when we submit our comp plan, we also create an agency plan based on data to things that we need to address to improve our processes and outcomes.
Okay. Are there questions for Jamie? I'll ask you a question. Because we covered this last time, kind of, but I would like you to cover it again because I think it's important for people. Can you kind of go over some of the statistics and some of the ways in which juvenile community corrections and adult community corrections help to reduce recidivism and help to get people off of the path to a life of crime and basically build them up as good citizens?
Yes, I'll try.
It's not a joke.
So for every day someone spends in prison, they're more likely to go back to prison. It also costs a lot of money, and the outcomes are actually very poor. Recidivism is basically only reduced when the person is out of the community and being contained in Kansas Department of Corrections, which has a 50% turnover and 30% vacancy rate at any time. There's also a lack of programming and a lack of funding. As such, the Community Corrections Act was established to create community corrections programs because overwhelmingly data in other states at the time and still currently today shows that the best outcome for someone to actually address the things that led them to criminal behavior, whether it's your criminal thinking patterns, your associates, your lack of education, your lack of employability, your addiction, your trauma, your mental illness, parental risk factors. There's a lot of things that go into play of what can lead to recidivism, and those things are better addressed in the community because, the simplest way to put this is if you take a tree out of the forest, the tree is not doing anything in prison. But when you put the tree back in the forest and they have now been away from their family, away from jobs, away from programs and employment, they just come out and they go back to what they know, and often worse. And sometimes people come out and they prefer to go back in because of institutionalization, because they're provided with hot meals and showers and places to lay their head, and it can almost be more safe for them inside depending on what their issues were in the community. Pre-COVID numbers were about $190 per day per offender to be in the prisons, and that's for a healthy inmate. Many of these people have hepatitis and other ailments, and they also receive medical and mental health treatment while incarcerated. That costs taxpayers a lot of money. It's on average $6.50 a day to keep someone in the community, And for every dollar that we fund mental health and addiction treatment, you see almost a $13 return, and the outcomes are overwhelmingly better because people are learning how to cope with issues and address their addiction in the communities where they're living, where they're going to be triggered and deal with stress. So that's my soapbox today.
Very good. So what we've seen working with juvenile and adult community corrections is these programs reduce recidivism, reduce folks having to go back into the prison system. They save the taxpayers money, and they also build up lives.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing. Can you talk about the Oxford House situation in Leavenworth County?
So our first female Oxford House was opened August 1st. If you go to oxfordvacancies.org, I believe, it might not be .org, but you can Google Oxford vacancies. It'll take you to all of the Oxford House vacancies. You filter to the state, you can filter to counties, and you can see when there's an opening available. They do interviews every Sunday. Oxford House is a evidence-based transitional house model where people can go and get housing in an environment where everyone is working towards sobriety. They have AA meetings and other chapter meetings that are required. They're also required to have employment or be involved in community service, so they're being productive as well. And they're only paying rent each week because that is a lot easier, because many people who struggle with addiction, if they get $600, $700, $800 at one time, that can be very difficult for them, and they can obviously use those funds in a way that is counterproductive to their sobriety. So if they're only worrying about their sobriety 1 week at a time, it's easier for them, and it's also more affordable.
And this is the first one in Leavenworth County?
The first one in Leavenworth County, the first one in this judicial district. There is the domicile and many transitional opportunities for veterans, but nothing for civilians. This is the first one. It is the female house. They can house 9 females. They're also actively looking for other property managers who are willing to lease to FORA, the Friends of Recovery Association, to find a male house by the end of the year. And we received a grant to help them with establishment fees.
And we had, what was it, 3 years ago or 4 years, whatever year, we had a pastor's breakfast, and we try to involve faith-based communities and organizations. This is something they can be involved in these halfway houses and Oxford houses. So,
yes.
Thank you for everything.
Are there any other organizations that are helping with this endeavor?
Which one? Like getting grants for Oxford houses?
Yes.
So we completed a sequential intercept mapping workshop last summer, July 2024, and there were 60 leaders across the community. We had we had the chief judge, we had someone from Todd's office, we had each law enforcement agency, people from the city of Leavenworth, a bunch of providers that come in and provide human services, as well as dispatch, EMS, everyone who interacts with individuals in crisis that may come into criminal justice, so even individuals from the prison and the feds. And all of us discussed priorities and needs in our community to help redirect and improve outcomes for justice-involved individuals struggling with mental health and addiction crisis. And one of the priorities were establishing Oxford houses within 12 months. We did meet that goal. And
excuse me, what were the requirements?
The 4 priorities that we addressed were: we needed housing, we need a residential inpatient facility, which I think was more of a parking lot issue. Like, none of us have the ability to work on that. It's a dream. We need it. And then the other one was more widespread data collection, which we got a grant to pay for that, and we're currently working on with the Guidance Center and all of the agencies who come into contact with individuals in crisis. And the last one was creating a centralized database where all of the resource providers in all of the county can be listed so people know where to go to get assistance. And each group or each issue that was identified, people in the audience who were participating in the workshop, if you felt like you could contribute, we got into those groups. I myself was specifically a part of the housing subcommittee to address that issue. And so it's been myself, DePaul University, and the Leavenworth, oh my gosh.
Health.
Their name is escaping me. Attainable
Happens to me all the
Housing
time,
Group
so.
and Interfaith. A lot of us have been really pounding the pavement, but Attainable Housing is really connecting fora with people. I'm a money person, so if you tell me there's a problem and I can find a grant, I'll do that.
Okay, now I heard you comment that if individual gets $600-700 a week or whatever the amount is, where do those funds come from?
So that's how much that's how much it costs to supervise them per day in the community. So it costs taxpayers about $650 per day per person to pay for an individual to be supervised. That comes from KDOC. They fund probation officers, and we can, divide our people by our staff and our, all of our costs. That's where we get that number. And then, if you divide the amount of inmates in prison by the overall budget of KDOC for maintenance, staffing, all of the things, supplies, room, board, food, medical, it costs $650 a day to keep people in the community versus over $190.
So the dollars that the individual, and I hate to call them inmates at that point, that the individual is getting, where do those are those dollars coming from their work environment?
Well, they don't get any money. I'm saying this is the cost of the service we provide. They don't get money.
To the taxpayer.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's the cost of the service to the taxpayer. So we all pay our taxes, and that's what funds the Department of Corrections, and that's what also inadvertently funds community corrections, because our operational grants come from DOC.
So what you're saying is that it's a lot less expensive to intervene through community corrections than it is to send them to prison.
Right, which is why our funding is at risk. If we send a disproportionate amount to KDOC, they reduce our funding because it costs them more money if we're not doing our jobs effectively in the community. And not only is there cost savings, there's evidence to validate that what we're doing overwhelmingly works much better. It keeps people in the community working, paying taxes, raising their children. I heard someone say, things about families. Well, yes, having an individual, one of your parents go to prison is a huge risk factor for becoming an offender and having lifetime issues.
I'd like to talk to you more in depth in the weeds on this. I have an overall view, but however, I don't know the inner workings of how this works. I'm going to devote to approve this, but I need a lot more information for me. Okay, so we can arrange that later.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And she's got a lot of information. She can talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
I got time.
I'm sorry. But not today.
I got time.
So one more question, or a couple more. With your trend as far as juvenile corrections, what's the trend in the numbers and the trend of the numbers on the adult side?
I reported those in July, so I don't remember them off the top of my head.
However,
However,
you don't give the exact numbers, but just
in
trend.
the past 5 years, our adults and juveniles, it's an average of 30% improvement here as a result of the programs we've established and also infrastructure that we're building and embedding in the community by working with mental health and getting those partnerships and having people served at my office. So it's a 30% increase, and although our juvenile population is going up, I'm not going to ignore the fact that we just talked about it's gone over. We had about 12 clients when I originally started 5 years ago. Now there's 43 kids on probation, and in comparison, there's 53 kids on probation in Wyandotte County and 60 kids on probation for Shawnee County. So 43 seems pretty high to me. especially when you consider our crime index is much lower, but our outcomes are still overwhelmingly improving. So we'll just keep serving him. And
Okay. Are there any other questions for
Not for me.
Jamie? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the FY25 Community Corrections Year-End Outcome Reports for the FY25 Adult Comp Plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there discussion? All right, voting. Commissioner Reed?
Aye.
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 Okay, and for the next one.
I'm also asking for you to approve the FY25 Community Corrections Year and Outcome Report for our juvenile comp plan.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the FY25 Community Corrections Year-End Outcome Reports for FY25 Juvenile Comp Plan.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion. Is there discussion? No discussion. Commissioner Reed?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate your diligence and appreciate you answering all the questions.
Thank you. No worries.
And Jamie, I will call you today.
Okay, I am doing new hire training because we're fully staffed as of today. Knock on wood.
Okay.
Fully staffed?
Fully staffed?
Fully staffed as of today.
That's it.
And I will get back with you and schedule something.
Thank you. She seems busy.
Yeah, she does. Okay, I guess we're ready for our Planning Commission representatives of the department. Welcome.
Commissioners.
All right. Case DEV 25085 and 086 is a request for a preliminary and final plat of the Maples Meadows subdivision in Leavenworth County. The parcel is address is 21453 203rd Street. They're requesting to subdivide this parcel into a 2-lot subdivision so they can have an additional house site on the property. However, the existing lot with the lot with the existing house, will not meet the lot depth to lot width ratio. The Planning Commission did vote to approve that exception at their September meeting. They also voted to recommend approval of the plat to this body in an 8-0 vote. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, it should be in your staff report.
Okay. Are there questions for the planning folks?
They've done the work.
Okay, then we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we follow staff and planning board's recommendations and find that the proposed final plat as outlined in case DEV 25. Do I need to do list 085 and 086?
Just 086.
086, okay. DEV 25-086 is compliant with the county zoning and subdivision regulations, and move that the proposed final plat be conditionally approved and accepted by this board, subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report and as adopted by the Planning Commission.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's on the floor. Is there discussion? Okay, voting. Mr. Reed?
Aye.
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 All right.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Was there going to need to be I guess there's not going to be an executive session. So presentations and discussions. Commissioner Reed.
I had a couple of things, and these are just things for the commission to ponder. We could maybe pick them up when our full body is present. As you heard me earlier ask the clerk's office, with the shortening of hours, I would also wonder then if the pay is less for that department per individual, because it would appear that they're working potentially an hour less a day than they were under the prior administration. And I'm not sure how we market that in office within the courthouse. is only working till 4, but I think we need to make sure we get that figured out. I've even been asked if it's allowed. I'm assuming it's allowed. I guess it's maybe not common. I'm not super sure. I haven't taken up a practice to call other counties and inquire. I guess it's just maybe new for our county or something of that. On a totally different topic, if we are, I would like to circle back to the LCDC and Port Authority funding. And again, I would like to discuss this when Commissioner Smith is present, since he did not support the letter that we sent with a majority. I would like to discuss that. And also, if I understood correctly, the only reason we have a board seat on both of those boards is because we have funding. I know that was the LCDC discussion when I came on, was that we were funding potentially through the Port Authority to LCDC, so we wanted to retain a board seat on LCDC. Is that also the only reason we have a Port Authority position, because we funded them, or is that not tied to funds?
The two are different entities. The LCDC is a separate organization, and our funding to them currently routes through the Port Authority, and I think that's their policy that in order to be on their board, you have to be a contributor.
Sure.
So that one's that. For the Port Authority, the city and the county, city of Leavenworth and the county formed the Port Authority in the 60s, the late 60s, and it's been in existence since then. Our position on that board if it was simply due to funding, then none of the other entities would have any seat on there because they don't provide the funding.
So we will retain a board seat on Port,
regardless
but
of
not
funding
LCDC.
there, we have a board member on there.
And we have two.
We have two. The representation is set out via ordinance.
So I guess we just need to confirm that the county commissioners want to give up the LCDC board seat if we're not funding them any longer.
And I don't think that has to. I don't think they have to. That would be if the LCDC does not want us to have a seat. I think that would be their action.
Okay.
As far as we're concerned, we're still on there. As far as I'm concerned, but
Commissioner, I think the approach by the board has been that as long as the Port Authority continues to fund the LCDC, then that is actually county funding. That was the stance we've taken in the past, which is why the board
okay.
demanded
I
a spot.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to jump in. I think it is important that our representatives on the Port Authority represent the view of the commission. And I think when the commission made a position on the matter of asking that we wanted to invest in a industrial park, and that was kind of what we made a position on, I think our representatives on the Port Authority board should have represented that position. That is my view. I understand. I think this needs to be discussed further, but I think, and I think we need to discuss what our position is. But I do think we should review the fact that all 779,000 or 72,000, whatever the reserves at the Port Authority, and county administrator can confirm this. I believe those are all county funds.
Well, that was my next question, because at that Port Authority meeting, I believe it was potentially Leavenworth City Commissioner Nancy Bowder that said those were not all county funds. She was asking, it sounded to me, and so there was some discussion. I don't know if you all have had time to watch that meeting link I think we sent out.
I think the exception might be, and the county administrator could confirm this, where if they sold some property or if they had some, if they had some transactions, then that money would not be directly county money. But every bit of the money that was contributed by the county in the past, that's all county money.
So I would like to potentially, I don't know if we want to make it an agenda item, but in a couple weeks, I would like to focus on this. Make sure we know if we did or did not have the legal right to ask for the $500,000 back. And then, I think as we all sit on boards, we tend to offer our own opinion, of course, on matters. But if we have a letter in hand that's signed by a majority of the board members, does that change that? Should we just represent that letter at that meeting? So I think both of those things I would just like to discuss so I know how to move forward.
And I agree with that. That's something we need to have. And maybe we as a group solidify our position on this because that money, since I've been on the commission in 2019, that reserve money's been sitting there and not being used for any kind of economic development, only being used to fund the bureaucracy over at the LCDC, as far as I can tell. And that money should be used for economic development. Let's go ahead and develop an industrial park. If the LCDC said that they basically disbanded their committee on industrial park, so if they've disbanded it, then the county's going to have to take up the slack, and we're going to have to pursue that because we don't want to abandon that as a goal because that's what we need. We need more commercial and industrial development, and if the LCDC is not going to do it, then we need to move ahead. In my opinion, this is one commissioner. So can we put that on agenda?
Yeah, commissioners, first to address the question that Commissioner Reed had about funding. I think that people get confused between the LCDC and Port Authority because they work so closely together. The LCDC has private funding. They receive funding from some of the cities, so that's different. But the Port Authority, the only funding they have received probably since they were formed, maybe within the first few years, the city may have also contributed, but it's been strictly the county that's contributed to those funds. Now, they have received some of the property that they own, I think, through donation. And then when they sell those lots, that's income in, which is what Commissioner Stephen was referring to. But I think you could track back the funding in their reserves as county funding.
And there was also something, when this is on the agenda, I'm sure you'll make this part of the packet, part of the discussion was that the Port Authority had spent, I don't remember the number, $60,000 on something. I didn't understand the issue. I was going to ask you about it and follow up before we discuss this in more detail, but it was something to do with veterans or something, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, there was an incentive provided, and I think it was a 10-year incentive. I'd have to get the exact details, but it was an incentive for the VA for one of their projects. The $50,000, I think it was $50,000 a year. The city gave, or the Port Authority gave $50,000. The county gave $50,000. But then the county reimbursed the $50,000 to the Port Authority each year as well.
Okay.
So, and I think that's where some of the I don't know if I want to say frustration, but that's probably the best word for it that the county has had is all of that money is the county's money.
Okay.
All of it. So if the Port Authority gives the money or if the county gives the money, all of it was the county's money.
I see what you're saying,
Because the
yeah.
county gave it all. So
They stated the expense, but they didn't state the credit
funding
side.
Yeah,
which
so,
was,
if your kid comes and asks you for $20 and then goes and buys a candy bar, it wasn't their money, it was your money, right? And then they're going to come and ask you for another $20 the next time they need money. That's I guess that's the best example. It's our money. It's all, and I shouldn't say our. It's all county funds.
Okay.
Taxpayers through a levy have funded the Port Authority. 100% their source of revenue has been from the county.
And I think they also mentioned maybe a labor study, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
That's an expense that they do. They contract that out to have a labor study done, and then utilize that for any of these applications that come in. Yep.
So just kind of wanted to overall discuss where the money has been spent, to date, because we're kind of saying we want to potentially focus it differently, right? So I think it's fair to just have the discussion and try and figure it all out. I'm still in the figuring it out phase. I would really like a clear path forward of development for Leavenworth County, and I feel like we just need to, spend some time on this one.
So, and I understand the new commissioners have not had to deal with this. We've been dealing with this for many years now. We had a committee that met together. We tried to come to a conclusion on economic development. And what the conclusion of that report was that the LCDC was going to be the marketing arm of economic development for the county. The Port Authority would be kind of because the Port Authority can own land and the Port Authority can loan money and the Port Authority can actually hire. You could actually have if you had a rail inside of an industrial park, the Port Authority could actually have employees running that. So they have a special place to play, and so they would take care of that part. And the county's role was going to be more of a role of funding projects. So instead of funding the bureaucracy over at the LCDC, we wouldn't be funding that anymore. That would be their job to raise the funds for their own employees and bureaucracy. But the county's role would be to fund projects like an industrial park or like helping businesses come in. And what's happened is that kind of fell through. It didn't work together. And I think if I was going to cite anything that is the biggest problem here, and I think when we get into this meeting, is a lack of communication between the groups. And I think there's some differences of opinion in the goals, the long-term goals. I think maybe there's folks that don't necessarily agree with that approach. So
I think one of my concerns, if it's marketing, I just think we need to look at that really closely and be very specific with our expectations. There was a presentation given at Rotary by LCDC, and there was a very nonchalant kind of shoulder shrug answer given, like, I put this proposal together when asked, and then I'm done. Like, well, we're not going to get anything that way, right? If you're pursuing a business to come to Leavenworth County, it needs to be extremely targeted and specific, and then you have to go after it. Probably a thin line between being actionable and harassing. You have to let them know, like, we want you here. What can we do to get you here? And you have to be persistent. And I just am not seeing that in the way they even talk about what they do. And so that's more of what I'm looking for. But again, I want to make sure that matches what the commission's looking for.
So this industrial park committee that the LCDC had, and one person that was invited, like probably about 8 months ago or a year ago, was Evan. Now the last name escapes me, but he was from the Union Pacific Railroad, and he came in to give us advice on if we were going to get a railhead, because there's no railheads at any industrial park in Leavenworth County, and we used to have multiple railheads in Leavenworth County. But anyway, he came and gave Aaron Evans. Aaron Evans was his name for Union Pacific. He came and gave a presentation, and it was before this industrial park committee of LCDC, and it was really good. And I thought they were headed towards that direction, but then 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, whatever it was, they told us here that they had disbanded. That they weren't. Their industrial park committee wasn't even in operation anymore because they're worried about funding. And when I think about funding, if you have $770,000 sitting in the bank over at the Port Authority, why would you worry about funding when it's not even costing you anything to continue the work towards this industrial park? And if there's anything that's important for them to be working on, it's that. So I think the reason that the letter, the motion and the letter and the request for the $500,000, it was because they didn't tell us they were even working on an industrial park coming back.
One of my concerns is that they're just going to spend down what is left in Port Authority with staff year to year, and again, my question is what is staff doing? Because I want to see that they're targeting specific businesses that we can meet the needs of in Leavenworth County. And that's just not what I feel like has been happening. So I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. But
I'm worried about that too. I'm worried that we're not going to spend this $770,000. It's not going to be spent. It's taxpayers' money. It's not going to be spent on bringing an industrial park or any kind of industrial development for the county or commercial. But it's only going to be sitting there, spending down to maintain the bureaucracy at the LCDC. And that's the only thing they're planning to use it for. So I was very disappointed in their vote the other day. And no explanation from them about, I mean, they voted it down. We were saying we want to build an industrial park. They voted it down, but they don't tell us, okay, if you're going to vote it down, what's the alternative? What are you going to do? Or are you just going to spend that money down to pay for bureaucracy that is, we don't know how effective it is?
Well, I think even, and again, I want to make sure we talk about this with Commissioner Smith maybe in a couple weeks. One of his comments at the end was, he had joined the board, and I'm not going to pretend like I have exact words here, but my understanding of his comments was, he was hopeful when he joined the board, but he wasn't sure now, I'm not sure exactly what his intent was, but that's what I want to discuss, right? Like, to me, these are taxpayer dollars. We need to have a very set vision, and we need to have some kind of quarterly checkups to make sure that it's being followed. And we do absolutely need to have great communication with Port Authority and LCDC and everyone involved in the county. So that was the goal of the meeting that we agreed to hold in Tonganoxie, and I just want to see us follow up in a positive way.
I agree. And it's not, I will just put this out there, it's not helpful when folks on the LCDC board attack people because their children are living in RHID project housing. That's not helpful. It's not helpful when leaders of the LCDC attack people's family members because they disagree, and that's not helpful. That doesn't help us to communicate, and that's some of the things that have gone on.
Thank you. That's all for me.
Okay, moving on. Where were we?
So did you guys see the letter from the LCDC that we got in the mail? I was hoping to get about 6 years ago, but we finally got it. This is a letter from the Leavenworth County Development Corporation. I'm just going to read it real quick. Subject is the support for the Eastern Gateway Concept Study. On behalf of the Leavenworth County Development Corporation, LCDC, I'm writing to express our strong support for the Eastern Gateway Concept Study and its continued advancement. This initiative represents a transformative opportunity to enhance regional connectivity, stimulate economic growth, and improve the quality of life for the residents of Leavenworth County and the broader Kansas City metropolitan area. The Eastern Gateway Concept Study, initiated by Leavenworth County, explores the feasibility of a new Missouri River crossing that would connect K7 in Leavenworth County and Eisenhower and Lansing to I-435 in Platte County, Missouri. Currently, the county relies on two primary river crossings, the Centennial Bridge on K92 and the I-435 bridge in Wyandotte County. A new crossing would alleviate congestion, provide redundancy, and open up new corridors for commerce and development. Key benefits of the Eastern Gateway project include enhanced regional connectivity by providing a direct link between Leavenworth County and the key transportation arteries in Missouri. The new crossing would facilitate more efficient movement of goods and people, benefiting businesses and commuters alike. Economic development opportunities, improved access can attract new businesses, support existing industries, and stimulate investment in underutilized areas, contributing to job creation and economic diversification. Improved emergency response and public safety. Additional crossing options can reduce response times for emergency services and provide alternative routes during incidents or natural disasters. Alignment with the regional planning initiatives. The project complements ongoing efforts to enhance infrastructure and transportation networks as outlined in regional comprehensive plans and studies. We commend the board's proactive approach in commissioning the Eastern Gateway Concept Study and engaging stakeholders throughout the process. The initial findings underscore the project's potential to serve as a catalyst for regional growth and resilience. LCDC stands ready to collaborate with the board, municipalities, state agencies, and other partners to advance this critical infrastructure project. We believe that with continued support and strategic planning, the Eastern Gateway can become a cornerstone of our region's future prosperity. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to the substantial development of Leavenworth County. Sincerely, Leavenworth County Board, LCDC Board. So, I wish we would have got this like before the regional transportation study, but like they say, it's never too late. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of the next step for the Eastern Gateway Bridge.
So I'd like to personally thank former Commissioner Shemke. I think he was instrumental in getting that letter
I agree.
To us, and he's been a big supporter of the 152 project. Do you have any other items?
Just to sum this up, basically this project, if you were a quick trip into Lansing, you could beat the KCI airport in 7 minutes. That's what this project is all about. For people that haven't heard about it, I don't know how they haven't heard about it, but there's some people that haven't. That's all I have.
Okay. Yesterday, Commissioner Dove and I were at the Mid-America Regional Council meeting, and we did bring up the 152 bridge. They were talking about their legislative agenda, and we brought up 152 bridge. We told them we wanted to get that on the discussion stage, and I'm sure you brought it up, but you weren't there, so I brought it up. And they did, hopefully they're, I don't know where it's going to go, but hopefully there will be more, at least it's on their radar. Mm-hmm. Also, we brought up property taxes, and we got quite a response on property taxes.
Yes, it was overwhelming.
In fact, they're going to have a commission. One of the commissioners from Platte County, when I brought up the property tax, because on their agenda there was nothing about property taxes, and we brought it up, and Commissioner from Platte County said, "Oh, that needs to be on the MARC agenda." Oh. So they're going to have a working group on property taxes. Both sides of the state line have issues on property taxes. Yep. Our structure is, of course, different than Missouri, but I thought it was great. I think that we're trying to pressure the legislators to pass this. So now if we can get MARC on board, that would be awesome. So I thought that was a positive thing. They also added transit safety funding, because I'm on this KCATA board, and a couple months ago, one of the things that was brought up, I said to them at the meeting, if my wife or my mother would not ride one of your buses, because I had discussed this with my wife about riding a city bus, and I told them if they don't feel comfortable with the safety of the bus, then there's a lot of people in the community that don't feel safe and wouldn't take the bus. So we want to make the transit in the Kansas City Metro, and we're trying to make it a regional more than just Kansas City, Missouri, because KCATA is all of these regional counties, and we want to plug in our county to that network. But so we asked them to include funding for transit safety and improvements, because there's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened on transit.
Yes, it has been.
Other thing, also they agreed to they in their transportation provision had stated multimodal, and they support different forms of transportation, but we specifically asked them to call out the passenger rail on both sides of the state line, Missouri and Kansas, because I don't know if anybody's read the economic studies, but when you get passenger rail into a community, it's millions and millions of dollars of benefit to your community. And on top of that, it's more connectivity. So we got that on their agenda. So I thought it was a pretty good meeting yesterday.
I think it was a great meeting. I was surprised at the reception that we received from your bring up these questions. I apologize for my voice, but these allergies are killing me. But in lieu of that conversation and after conversation, I would like to invite Mark to come here and give us a presentation on what their intentions are and how we can go forward with that agenda that was discussed yesterday. I've had some preconceived notions of what MARC was, and I'd like to find out from them directly as to how they can really benefit us at Leavenworth County and adjoining counties. So if we could set that up, it'd be something that we could stick our teeth into and get some more help in making it work.
So, Commissioner, KCATA also would like to come and do a presentation. And
yes, they would also.
Dovetail.
Yep.
We might be able to dovetail both of those at the same time.
It would be a good idea, I think, to have them both come at the same time and then separately to tell us exactly how can we go forward on this agenda.
Yeah, usually Mid-America Regional Council comes out once a year or so I don't think it'd be a problem. They're usually very agreeable to meet with the board, so I can send out a request for that.
They're very receptive to the suggestions and ideas that Commissioner Stephen had brought up, and I was surprised at how receptive that they were. You got heads nodding, and yes, we should be doing this, but yet no one has brought it up before Commissioner Stephen had brought that subject up. So I'm very enthusiastic as to watching how we can go forward on this agenda. It needs to be addressed, and I know it's in the future. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it can happen, and it won't happen unless we bring this subject to them.
And it was really good because, I mean, there were people across the ideological spectrum and different parties, and they were all pretty much in agreement.
Is it the mayor pro temp of Wyandotte, former representative
Tom Burrows?
Tom Burrows was very enthusiastic about this, and Tom. Former Representative Burrows and I were at many times on the opposing sides years ago. However, we always saw that there was a mutual understanding of how we could get some things done. I respect his opinion and his leadership, especially being Mayor Pro Temp of Wyandotte. So, I'd like to see that going forward. Might be a good idea if we invite him out.
All right. Is there any other comments? So is there a motion?
Excuse me. Before we break, there was a discussion I had with one of the board members. Has anyone here ever heard of, what is it called here? First Poor Farms in Kansas. You ever hear so?
What's it called?
First Poor Farms. It was started in Leavenworth and Douglas County in 1866. By 1899, 80 of the 105 counties had poor farms. And from my understanding, these farms were put together for the specific purpose of helping individuals who were down on their luck, but yet they were disbanded along the way. And I'd like to find out more about that, because from my understanding, it could be in the Kansas Constitution that we look into, that we make that work. That's all I have.
Okay. Yeah, on that note, I just remember my grandmother saying, you don't want to end up on the poor farm.
Excuse me, we got someone that raised their hand.
Go ahead. Sure. Come on down.
You guys usually want to know some information. Hi, Caleb Christopher. Is this one on today? Yeah, okay.
Yes, it's on.
Caleb Christopher, I live in Baser. You were mentioning that the state doesn't allow people to infringe on their right-of-way to measure traffic. And I thought, so I have my computer because I like research and stuff while you guys talk. I thought, what is there in the way of camera systems that would be off the right-of-way? Can we do that? There are a couple of options out there. So if you guys want to pursue that, there are cameras that can be set back off the road, and we can conduct an independent study. I don't know if they would allow you to rent the equipment or how much that would be worth to do that, but if you want it, there are ways to measure without running an air hose across the highway.
Very good. We'll have
That's all I
to
got.
put you in touch with Bill.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up as an option for you guys.
Thank you,
All right.
Caleb.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Voting?
Yes, second.
Aye.
Aye.
That's it.